rite of passage, pilgrimage, adventure, quest, loss of a bet. There are many reasons to quit your job, meet your best friend by a river, and paddle to the ocean. In 1930, Eric Sevareid and Walt Porter started near Minneapolis, Minnesota, and paddled a route that led them to York Factory and the Hudson Bay. Eric Sevareid wrote the classic Minnesota canoeing adventure when he returned. Canoeing with the Cree has inspired many to paddle north. Books, websites, newspaper articles are still being written because a couple of teenagers were brave enough to follow a dream that hadn't been realized since the beginning days of the fur traders. I can't remember when I first had the idea to paddle to the ocean from my home. It seems as if the idea has been there since my dad told me that the water that flows past my family's home flows north to the Hudson Bay. Canoeing with the Cree and a few other people I heard about made the trip seem possible. As I traveled the world in my home, the idea became more and more something that was going to happen, not if, and I simply had to figure out when and with whom. In May of 2010, I drove a van loaded with gear back to Minnesota, my home.
That's right, we have Carson in our car.
After meeting my niece, Madeline, I swung by the Seifert home for some final advice from someone who's been and his canoe.
I'll say that this canoe has been tested. It can go to the Hudson Bay, so if it doesn't make it, I think it's use your air, so try not to let that happen.
I survived the summer of '08 with both of my sons in the canoe. I can't say that there weren't some anxious moments, but I loved and look forward every night to the Spot Messenger message. We're extremely proud of them, and you will be too at the end of the summer.
How does one prepare for an extended canoe trip for 4 people and 2 people, down rivers and rapids, across lakes and an international border, through cities and over dams? Well, Jason and I started with lots of conversations about what we wanted the trip to look like. We researched expedition canoeing, the region, and the route. We also exchanged many an email with people who had already been. We've been practicing for 500 miles.
Right. That's what I love about the start of this trip, is that it seems like a good way to get into Lake Winnipeg and the Hayes River. You know, it's long, it's fairly what I would anticipate to be calm, not huge, nothing too crazy.
No, nothing.
You know, it's a chance for us to get into a kind of a groove, to get our arms and muscles built up and get ready for the big stuff. Are we putting these things in here?
We're gonna have to, and they might not fit. Should we pack it for what we think we're gonna bring?
You know, they want one for a spare in case, you know,
Okay.
the Red River or Winnipeg.
I don't know, on this one, you can just push these in too in the backs.
Yeah, I had
Drop
these
off.
off and washed them already.
We took our general idea of what we needed and tried to apply that to the gear that we had in the route. To read some of that, and then to resupply books coming, and we can.
See, like I just grabbed 3. Like I've read this guy before. I think he's really good.
They got you working.
Yep, so I left just enough of a nub on that grate so that it fits into that hole.
Okay.
But all you gotta do, it's on the left side, all you gotta do is push it a little bit to the
it'll pop
left and it pops out.
Beautiful. Jason and I invited our dads along for the first leg of the trip, and they helped us hugely in getting everything ready for the trip as a whole. All the packing, unpacking, organizing, feeling overwhelmed, shopping, last minute details, planning, decisions, all took us about 2 full days.
Sounds good. I'll do that. Thanks. Bye-bye. That was Eleanor. She says, tell them to keep packing.
Do you have any thoughts?
He is quite impressively large.